Start with any gesture to open. It could be a mudra or a bow, anything you want. So it's the beginning of the week. Why don't we check in with our bodies? Sit for a moment and see what's going on. You can place your hands on your heart and your belly, or you can let them rest in your lap. But we start to enter our body-mind connection. How are we feeling today? Where do we look to feel how we're feeling? Where do we check? Watching ourselves, watch ourselves. Feeling, sensing, arriving. Just slowing down the chatty mind. Deliberately coming back over and over again to the breath. All the things we need to do will get done. All the things we've ever said or thought or felt are in the past. We can simply cultivate this moment with a sense of sacredness and safety. Clearing away any of the debris of the morning or the afternoon. And finding some stillness for a few more breaths. And just feeling the connection between your hands and your body once more. Just feel that giving and receiving. A gesture to let yourself know that you're held and supported. That you feel yourself. You're allowing all your feelings to enter this space. Becoming friends with who we are. And letting that go, we can shake the arms out to the sides, blink the eyes open if they were closed. Just bring in a little bit of rhythm into the stillness. Now the body is moving. How does that change things up a little bit? What happens to the mind? What happens to the breath as we start to engage in a bit more liveliness? And I think we should just start with a toe stretch because you know how much I love those. And it's nice to start the week off, just really starting to charge up the whole system. So you can start kind of in a little squat with your knees up so that all your toes are down, and then bring the knees down to the floor. Help the little baby toes get underneath there. And we sit on the feet. This is the beginning of adding good compression and good stress to the whole body. There's a term for it, eustress, eustress, eustress. And that's the good compression that helps us tone the body, helps us engage with all the tissues. So we start by bringing it to the bottoms of the feet. We feel how that generates this whole charge in the whole system. The whole body just starts to light up. Maybe you feel a little bit warmer. Maybe you're more aware of your shins. Maybe it's uncomfortable, but we'll try to stay with it for a little bit longer. Knowing that the net of our whole body, the matrix of tissues, everything's starting to blink alive now. It's like all the lights are just turning on in the whole body, starting from the toes. Just a few more breaths. Let your mind stay easy. We're not running away with any stories. We're sitting and we're feeling what's available right now. And you can start to tilt your body forward. Bring your feet up. Dangle them out. Feeling the reverb. Wow. Just noticing how that compression just starts to dissolve. How all the little cells inside the feet just start to go and widen out into the soles of the feet, up the shins, through the legs. Give it a little shake to the side. And then we might as well go for the tops of the feet while we're here. So starting on your knees, finding some support behind you with your hands, and then just tilting back far enough until you can feel that edge where the tops of your feet are opening up. Whoa. Moving our bodies in different directions than we normally do in the workday. Noticing what this might bring up. Yeah, and as always, adding any supports that you might need. You can place a block underneath the knees to add a little bit less sensation or to take away sensation. Put the block behind you. So we'll be here for just a tiny bit more. All those years of wearing high-heeled shoes, this is the antidote to that. Okay, you can let that go now. Tilt forward, shake the feet out, give them a little wag. You can even kick your whole leg out if you want. Taking any movements here to feel the echo, to neutralize the body. Ooh. And so now that we've set fire to the whole body, we might as well keep going with that. So let's do a little bit of aimless wandering because I've been super into that lately, which means just taking your body for a ride, taking the mind, setting it aside, and just moving in any way that you feel like you want to. You can close your eyes. You can just start to roll around the floor to start. You don't have to stay glued to the floor. You can change levels. Just moving around, following what feels like intuition. Where would you find the intuitive centers of the body without trying to be symmetrical or pretty, graceful? If you get confused or lost, that's okay. You can step right back into the sensation of your body moving. Just moving towards feeling, getting out of the brain and go towards where it feels delightful. Doesn't have to be this grand performance or dance. We're just saying, hey body, what do you want to do right now? What do you want to do right now? And that can look different for all of us. It will look different for all of us. It may even look like stillness. We're just getting out of the brain. Sound is always welcome. Oh! Imagine what kind of world we would have if politicians woke up every morning and just moved their bodies around and let out a scream or two. Ah! Wouldn't that be nice? We could just express ourselves and be free. Instead, we just are taught to lock it all up, to remain in our thinking brains and our judgment brains, instead of letting ourselves just be vulnerable and real and expressive. So here's some space for that. Don't hold back. We'll go for about 1 more minute of this. Really let yourself be yourself without any worry or doubt that this is something you're doing right or wrong. Great. So let's get those blocks handy now once you've found the floor again. And we'll start with some armpit compression. So coming over to, let's start with the left side. Taking your block, so starting in like this nice little loungy position. You can set yourself up and go, oh, look at me, I'm a model. And then you can place the block right underneath your armpit. It's like the second height. Maybe you could put it a little lower if that's how you prefer, but this middle height feels really nice. And then holding your head in your hand, you can start to sink that shoulder blade around the block. You may have to adjust it to find that really special place. You'll know it when you find it. It feels great and strange all at once. And this is just another pressure point, another access point to a meridian line. Sending that wave through the whole body, lighting up the whole thing. I think I've mentioned in class before that there's a teacher called Will LeBlanc. He's a yin enthusiast, can be found on the internet. And he uses the metaphor of light up sneakers. When the sneakers light up, it's because there's these tiny crystals inside the shoes that when compressed, sends all the light out. And our tissues are just like those little crystals, except it's a whole net, a whole matrix that covers the entire landscape of the whole body. And when some of the tissues are compressed, it just lights up the whole thing. And this is how we regulate. This is how we find balance and harmony. So as you lay here with the block under your armpit, you can imagine it stimulating each and every little cell of your being, even if it's just pressing on this one part. The whole thing's connected. I don't know if you can hear the chorus of beeping cars outside right now, but you love to hear it. There's at least 3. Okay, and so we'll use our right hands to push ourselves up slightly. Straightening out the arms for a moment. What's that like? How does that left armpit feel now? Maybe a burst of warm energy, the temperature changes. Is there any vibration in the shoulders? Any shakiness or difference? Maybe you slip a little bit, that's okay. And before we take this to the other side, let's take our blocks and flatten them out so that they're on their first level. And we'll come to banana on the side. So we're just gonna bring the block closer to the lowest rib. And you can adjust this here, put it higher or lower depending on how deep you want this sensation to go into the ribs. And you can just lay the head down on your arm. You can lengthen the arms overhead. So it's just a banana, but the C curve is draped over this block instead of being flat on your back. And if that's too much compression for the side of the body, just take it onto the back. And just make that C shape against the floor, turning your body into like a little crescent moon or a banana, which is what this is. Compression does the same thing. It's just a little bit different. And you can always add cushion on top of the block if the edges feel kind of tight. As each tissue underneath the layers of skin and muscle get compressed, momentarily the blood flow is slightly constricted. But when we leave the pose, the blood comes rushing back in with fresh oxygen. So this is super hydrating for all the tissues. The good stress rejuvenates. So even if it's a little uncomfortable and the pressure feels kind of intense, we're hydrating intentionally. Great. You can start to walk your way back up. Take your time. Just noticing what that did. Feeling this ripple effect. Starts in the ribs. Maybe it moves into the shoulders, into the chest, heart. Also just sitting up, cross-legged for a moment, and noticing what that did. How does the left side feel compared to the right? You can really feel the shift and the movement that happens after all of that compression and then the expansion. A lot of teachers say the after pose is almost more important than the actual pose itself because we can spend time feeling what we did. So let's do it again on the other side. When you're ready, start to move towards the right, bringing your block to that middle level, finding that spot right under the armpit, right under the scapula too. You can find it underneath there. Just getting that little balance going. Whew. And there it is. Lighting it up. Feeling the support. Bringing some attention, some loving awareness right underneath the armpit. friendly reminder to remember the face, the jaw, the forehead. Noticing what kind of quality is arriving there. If it feels tense, habitual, or if it feels free, spacious, relaxed. How's the breath? We can use our left hand now to help us push up onto our hands like little kickstands, feeling the reverb. What's going on in that armpit now? Really taking our time here. And then flattening that block out and hoisting your body over that side of the block. Right side now gets to drape over, creating our banana over a block. Whew. This side might be different than the other. Maybe it feels a little bit more or less intense. So we adjust accordingly. We make friends with this new position. Working towards being kind to our minds and our bodies. We're not trying to run away from everything. We're finding spaciousness. And easy mind, easy breath, even amidst something challenging and uncomfortable. You can even use your imagination to imagine a floppy banana peel. We're not a rigid, tight banana. We're just that floppy yellow peel, the skin, that your bones get nice and soft. Your skin is soft. A mushy banana. It helps to picture it. Excellent. So, taking your time again, moving back up, finding your kickstand arms momentarily, Feeling that brightness, that lighting up, all little crystals on the side of the body. And we'll just come back to an easy seat one more time, just to feel and listen to the sirens go by. Tuning back into that easy breath. To a sense of slowing down without any urgency to be anywhere else. Can we really make the most of this moment? Being here now. Your eyes are open. If your eyes are closed, you can open them and just take a look around your space for a moment, taking in the concept of space. Where does space end and you begin? How far out can you see right now? And now we'll come into a transition here into tabletop. Patting the knees. And we'll walk the hands out just a foot or so, maybe even less. We'll come into this melting heart puppy pose, just bringing the forehead to the ground. The chest doesn't have to come all the way to the floor, but maybe it hangs there like a hammock. Just opening the backs of the shoulders, the front of the chest. We're compressing the heart space. Can you feel into the back of your heart here? What is the back of your heart experiencing? Can you imagine your heart nestled there next to your lungs, inside the ribs? And you can begin to walk yourself out back to a tabletop, taking good care of your spine here. And we'll just shift like a little sway back and forth, gliding over the tops of the wrists. Coming back to neutral spine, let's take the hands and flip them around so that the fingertips are pointing towards the knees. Lean back slightly, adding a little bit of stress to the inner wrists. Feeling that connection as it goes all the way up towards the elbows. This line of connection. Come back to center. Flip the palms upside down now so that you're on the tops of the wrist. It's like toe stretch, but for the hands. You can kind of push back a little bit, or even push forward, just kind of gliding back and forth on this wrist. Wow, there's a lot of held tension there. Opening it up. We're allowing these joints, some hydration and some lubrication is happening. Bring the hands back to their normal fingertips pointing forward. Maybe coming to sit on the knees to give the hands a little shake out. And we'll start to set up for pigeon pose now. So if you like having props for your pigeon so that you can place your head on a block or drape yourself over a bolster or a pillow, you can have that handy. Blankets are always welcome underneath the knees. But we'll all start on the right, bringing that right knee towards the right wrist. And then you can adjust yourself, but we're not trying to actively get that 90-degree angle in pigeon. Your legs can just kind of land where they land, finding a sense of your edge, where the sensation is not too little, but not too much. Maybe rocking side to side to find where it feels like the center. You feel like your spine is just going for a ride right in the center of your pelvis. You're more than welcome to stay upright in your pigeon, or you can turn it into a sleeping swan and bring your body forward. Resting at any level. Can be on elbows. Can be kind of like a half fold. Whatever your body is asking for today. Can you ride that edge? Slipping into a sense of ease while still feeling the sensation of the compression. Those are huge joints in the pelvic area. I mean, really thinking about it, that ball and socket, the femur bone, the pelvis in general, it's like heavy, heavy bones, big bones. So it would be nice to stay here a little while so that they can get nice and greased. It's like greasing a wheel. We lay off the muscle, the bone gets stressed, and little layers of tissue start to be created. in the process. This creates strong, healthy bones, new platelets, new marrow. Feeling what it's like to be in a body, to be in this shape, to be on the ground. Just a little bit longer here. Maybe there's even a moment when it just feels really good. Where all the sticky stuckness just turns into like, oh, open tenderness. Breathing easy, couple more breaths. And if you were folded forward, you can start to prop yourself up a little bit more, taking it layer by layer, moving with ease, ensuring that you don't hurt yourself. And you can start to bring that right knee back, sliding it back. And we can begin to just slowly lower the belly towards the floor, coming into a Sphinx. This will be a pretty short Sphinx, but we'll come back to it after the other side. Relaxing the shoulders. Relax the muscles in the face. Shake it out. Feeling what's going on in the hip creases. A lot of activity there. And we'll take the journey over to the other side. Left knee to left wrist. Situating yourself here. Taking a couple rocks, letting your body know it's safe to be in this pose. You can be gentle and not forceful, patient, without judgment. And you can take your pigeon, swan, whichever bird you want this to be. Let it rest any amount towards the floor. Making friends with our bodies, with our minds, making friends with this shape, and this expression. This is good practice for when scary emotions come up, when we know how to deal with the discomfort by making friends with it, by changing the storyline about it. Maybe it's not so inaccessible. Maybe it becomes a little bit easier to work with. So rather than, I have to do this pose, I have to do it right, it becomes, I'm compressing my hip joints to hydrate, to rejuvenate, to become more aware of, to take care of myself. We're taking care of ourselves here. Couple more breaths. Starting to float the torso back up if it was spread out and down. Propping up onto your hands again. And using the rest of your body to untuck that leg. Finding your way out of this shape. Just bringing yourself back down to the ground. Coming into your Sphinx again. And if you want a little bit more compression in your Sphinx, you could take a block or a rolled up blanket or towel and stick it right underneath your belly. And it can be closer to the ribs or closer to the pelvis. Taking care to not like totally squish your organs around, but just adding a little bit more of that support. Creating a little bit more of a squeeze. Lighting up the crystals inside the shoes. But this time the shoes are your intestines. I invite you again to let out any sounds that may be trapped inside that wish to be expressed. Doesn't have to be any real language. It could just be like a caw, whatever. Let it out. we can just roll over onto our backs and situate ourselves flat on the floor for our final resting pose. Noticing the organs start to spread out and move towards the back of the body. The limbs are heavy. The brain is heavy, falls to the back of the skull. Now the whole back of the body is getting that nice compression. Each surface area from the tip of your head, the tips of your toes, all the way down the back of your body, presses gently into the floor, and the floor presses gently back, holding, supporting, nurturing. Turning your attention to the front surface of the body, the parts that are exposed to the air, parts of you that are touching space. Bringing deeper breath. Can reach your arms overhead. Give your body a big stretch, reaching from your toes to your fingertips, pulling the whole body in half. Rolling over to one side, finding a fetal position, giving yourself a little hug or a pat or a squeeze on the arm. And you did it. You did good. That's the stuff. We can be friends. Me and this body, we can be friends. And we'll come up to sit for closing. Find an easy seat. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be at peace. Any gesture to close.
Thank you, Sadie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the wrists. Yes, agreed. It's like, wow.
Yeah, no joke.
I gotta work those out more often.
What we're doing here. That's what we're here for.